of You with TLC, a podcast dedicated to your self-care. We aim to share guest stories, information, and tips on how to live healthier and happier lives. We are Twin Life Coaching and Business Services with your hosts, Barb and Tara Lehman. We're business partners, besties, twins, and we care about increasing awareness around your self-care through our podcasts, coaching, consulting, workshops, and community. To find out more about our services, please visit www.twinlifecoaching.ca. As a reminder, this podcast is for sharing of stories and information only. It is not intended to be or replace any medical advice you're seeking or have received. So let's get started.
Awesome. And I am Tara. That was Barb just speaking. And today we are introducing you to our new podcast and the types of topics we're hoping to discuss with you and hear your stories about. We will be entertaining guests on various topics coming soon. Topics we will be sharing information, tips, and guest stories about can be anything from habits at work or at home, bringing mindfulness strategies to help you relax, talking about the importance of healthy lifestyle through nutrition, exercise, and other ways to help stress monster get out from under your bed and out that front door, to even building your confidence, helping you with some financial stress relief, being positive by reframing those negative thoughts, and so many other topics. And we are so ready to get started. So today, Barb, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite self-care topic today?
For me, I think it would be mindfulness. Mindfulness
Yes.
is something that, a lot of people think, oh, that's all about meditation. And that is one aspect of mindfulness, but it's not the ones that I practice.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally I will do some meditation. I'm not going to say I don't, because I do. But for me, a couple of my favorite pieces around that are if I've had a busy or stressful day. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I go to bed, one of the things that I like to do after all my routine's done, I crawl in bed and I lay there and I just do some deep breathing exercises.
Mm-hmm.
It helps calm my mind.
Yes.
And it calms my body because, the physiological changes through deep breathing. And I don't do it for very long. It's a couple of minutes. I do my 3-second deep breathing in,
Mm-hmm.
holding for 3 seconds, and then 3 seconds of releasing that breathing,
Mm-hmm.
then waiting 3 seconds and repeating it. And I tell you, it completely relaxes me and it helps me fall asleep.
So I was going to ask, do you sleep better?
It helps me fall asleep for sure. I don't know, I want to say I sleep better, but definitely helps me fall asleep. It is a great tool. Other things I like to do around
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness, which people don't sometimes know is mindfulness activities, are things that you do for yourself. Mm-hmm. So maybe for me, I love to garden. Mm-hmm. If I go out in my garden by myself, that is me taking care of me. I am engaging in an awesome mindfulness activity for me. Sometimes I puzzle. So especially
love puzzle.
Right?
Yeah.
And in the winter, when you can't go out and garden, like I'm not going to go out and garden in the snow. So it's something that I do in the winter just to de-stress or kind of, get away from the hecticness of my work day, my family, my, our business, everything. I will say, and I'm going downstairs to my puzzle table. Give me an hour.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so everybody knows Barb has this room. She's got a big puzzle table and she's got these puzzle piece sorters. Like it's incredible what she's got down there. And it's like her own space. So she can truly be alone with just focused attention on the present moment with that puzzle. It's great.
Yeah. It's amazing. If you're very, very, very frustrated from something happening in your day, puzzling is not necessarily where you want to start your self-care because a difficult puzzle can cause frustration. But you could start with going for a walk, having a cup of coffee or tea by yourself, and then go and puzzle. And it just, I don't know, it works for me. Any craft, knitting. Oh, there's so many people that knit and crochet the most beautiful things. And it's such an amazing activity they can do for some self-care to have a little me time.
I
That
love it.
bubble bath, like who doesn't love a
Yes.
bubble?
Nice hot
So,
bubble bath.
yeah. So there's lots of things that I do, but those are kind of the ones that I really enjoy is, gardening and puzzling and, that occasional bubble bath, but
Yes.
definitely my breathing at night if I haven't had a stressful day and still feel that stress in my body. Yeah.
Speaking of stress, stress is my favorite self-care topic. I've had stressful times over my life and, even some happening now with some family. But
Yeah.
stress is something that it's okay as long as we're not having chronic, crazy stress, either at work or at home. And, we need to do things to relieve the stress in our lives. Mindfulness, like you just said, can be
Yeah.
just like this time where I sometimes just go out on the deck and stare. I have a weeping willow tree. I just watch it move in the wind and just get myself lost in it. Some people do that at a lake or an ocean or in a forest, whatever works for them, right? But stress management is so important to our self-care
Yeah,
because
definitely.
because stress causes like the muscle aches, and even sometimes stomach aches and all these things that can physically happen. And mentally, of course, too. There's things like depression and SAD or seasonal affectiveness disorder. So I like to call stress the stress monster when it gets chronic and look at ways of getting rid of it. So, there's lots of tips out there. You could build better habits. You could practice mindfulness, meditation, even delegating work, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And at workplace, the work stress, yeah, people forget to look at their day. How can I
yeah.
move that stress to someone else who can actually do that, who isn't at that same level of stress?
Exactly. Yeah. Or making sure that we look at where are we headed, like at home, at work, at play. Is this where we want to be? Is this the end goal? And if it's not, how can we take a step? I always say a step to the right or to the left from our current path and change the path we're on to reduce our stress. And so, for example, at work, like you said, delegating where and if possible is huge. It allowed someone to potentially learn something new, right? Maybe you can
Yep.
hold on to that star employee who might leave and you get a little bit less work.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's great. And I think when you're talking about stress, a lot of people confuse stress and anxiety. And I think
Yes.
it's really important that people understand that those are two very, very different things.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
they absolutely will go hand in hand a lot. You'll
Mhm.
find that you develop anxiety because you're stressed or the other way
Yes.
around, but
Yeah.
that they are two very different things.
And speaking of that too, fear can cause
Yeah.
different types of stress. How many people are afraid of spiders? I mean, come
Who isn't?
on. Who is it? Exactly. Or snakes, right? Barb and I, by the way, love snakes. We don't have a problem with snakes. But, spiders are something that causes that fear and anxiety, around people. And some people get very nervous, and it's about understanding that there's a different type of stress that can come from fear and anxiety is really important to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this, Barb, because so many people struggle with another self-care thing, which is exercise and nutrition, which of course we've already stated. If you're changing any of this, please talk to your medical practitioner first. But we know this is a big self-care topic. And you've recently made nutrition coaching one of your amazing services. Why do you feel that's so important, that we take care of our physical bodies through exercise and nutrition?
Well, for me, as you obviously know, Tara, but for everyone
Mhm.
who's listening, I have struggled most of my adult life. I've never been obese. I've never been super overweight, but I've always been that 30 to 40 pounds above, that ideal where the doctor kind of wants you to sit. And
Mhm.
so for me, there was a personal journey that got me into the weight management and nutrition coaching. A few years ago, I finally got rid of all the yo-yo diets, like how many are
Mhm.
out there, and they work great, and then suddenly you're gaining more back
Yeah.
as soon as you stop them, right? So I went back to kind of the basics of healthy eating and balanced nutrition and
Mhm.
exercising a little more. So that's part of why I decided to kind of bring that back. The self-care, you see huge differences
Mhm.
emotionally, mentally, physically. My knees stopped hurting. And like I said, I wasn't
Yeah.
that much overweight, but that little bit that I was, my knees bothered me every day. We
Yeah.
forget our bodies, our knees carry our bodies,
Yes.
um, you know, and it's
Yeah.
also for those that are listening who haven't seen our faces, Tara and I we're not in our 20s. Let's just, we're our 30s. Let's just say that.
We're 29 plus a few, and then we're 39
Several
plus a
years.
few.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think as we age, we need to start looking at those things. I mean, who
Mhm.
wants to, develop diseases or things that we can prevent? So
Yes.
when I went through that weight loss, and I'm not going to lie, there's times that sometimes that treat, I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
So I like to look at finding a way to have my balance of eating a
Mhm.
treat and
Yeah.
maintaining my my values of maintaining my health. But and
Mhm.
I do. I don't think anyone should strictly focus on eating healthy foods all the time and never have an indulgence. Our lives aren't like that. Our world,
Mhm.
a lot like
So true.
the stress that you were just talking about would be everywhere,
Yeah.
um, as the food is everywhere. But yeah,
And yeah.
that's why I did it. I saw the actual results myself.
Mhm.
I've kept the weight off for over 3 years now. It works. And so,
Yeah.
I thought, well, I would love to share this with others, but I also wanted the certifications to learn those extra pieces that I didn't know. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
And when you talk about, the weight on your knees, and everybody thinks the weight on your shoulders. And I
right.
had a lot of weight on my shoulders for years due to stress. But I also have other things going on in my upper back and neck. But I went back to the basics of exercise with my medical practitioner, medications and things like that. They worked temporarily for me. And so he said, let's get back to the basics, the
Yes.
very basics, like just stretching. So if you're having like a rough day, like stretch if you
Yep.
can, as best you can, move if you sit at that computer all day. It will not just make your body feel better, but your mind will feel better because you won't be aching as much. So you're not going to worry about it and things like that as well, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And getting up and moving. I mean,
mhm.
that also can just, if you are feeling really stressed about your workday, getting up and going for a quick walk around the office and coming back can clear your mind as well. So
Yeah,
it's not even a full on, exercise. You're not getting your
yeah.
heart rate up really high. You're just moving,
Mhm.
stretching, going for a little walk. It does so much more than just the physical. It
It
helps
can
you mentally
declutter
too.
your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Great. Well, that was a good little chat there.
yeah.
So we're going to shift a little bit now, and talk a little bit more about some of the things that we offer as services. So, Tara, can you tell our audience a bit about why we've created our TLC community, what that is, and what it might entail for some of our listeners?
Absolutely. So this is brand new community that we created. It is called the TLC community. And we know that self-care is so important to everybody. So we wanted to build community so that you have somewhere feeling comfortable, you have access to resources. So for example, our community, we will have a private monthly discussion group where we can talk about topics that mean something to our community members, where you can share stories confidentially in a safe environment. We have online courses and workshops as well on our Eventbrite page, which is also shared with our TLC community, and they get them all for free. So, we've had one such as stress less, we had one about interview skills, confidence, all those types of things. And we're working on building more. And Barb is working on building a couple nutrition ones to come in the
Yep.
following months.
But the
We,
advantage to our community is they don't have to pay for them. That's
yeah,
the big
it's
piece.
that is the big piece. We also have ebooks that I've started to put together. So we have one called Stress Less, put simply, and one called Leadership, put simply. And the idea is that these books are the basics of what you need for those topics. And we're going to continue to build our ebooks as well. Again, free to our community members. Of course, we also offer discounts off the coaching services, up to 20% off. You are more than welcome to be a podcast guest on our podcast as well. That goes along with all community members. And we have tons of resources that we share with our clients that we are going to be also posting some for our community members. Why are we doing this? Because we care. And everybody is going through the ups and downs of the crazy world we have been living in for a few years now, between COVID and now the uncertainties and interest rates and, the food prices. So, yeah. So we're making sure we're offering something to all of our clients and all of our friends out there, that you have a community behind you who cares about the same things that you care about. So that is a little bit about our community.
Great. And then as the
go ahead, Barb.
Sorry, I was just going to say the community grows with people, the community might also grow with other resources, tools, and things that maybe you suggest that we could put in there that isn't currently in there. So it's always going to be growing.
Yes. And we will be looking for guests to speak about favorite self-care topics as well very soon. So if you have a topic that you do wish to discuss or something you want to hear about on our podcast, we want to know. You can let us know by emailing info@twinlifecoaching.ca, not .com. We are in Canada, so it's .ca. Well, Barb, thanks. That was a great conversation today.
It was. Yeah, it was great. And it was great to introduce our new podcast and our new community that we're developing. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So am I. Thank you to everybody listening and for joining us today. We can't wait to bring you more about taking care of you with TLC, with our guest stories, challenges, sharing wins, tips, information to help you on your self-care journeys. To find out more about all of our services and our new TLC community, please visit us at www.twinlifecoaching.ca. Until next time, remember, you've got this.